everybody, it's Shulamit Lazarus, healer, personal transformation coach, EFT specialist, matrix re-imprinting specialist, and more. But you can learn about me on my website, shulamitlazarus.com. What I want to do is I want to talk to you about something called surrogate tapping. And it's not an easy concept to understand because what you're doing is actually tapping for someone else. And sometimes some people have a hard time with that idea. I would invite anybody who doesn't know what tapping is to go to other videos that I have, and I talked about tapping extensively. Emotional freedom techniques is how I became trained, and then somebody came in and mainstreamed it and called it tapping. So you may know it from that perspective. In any event, surrogate tapping is tapping for somebody else, not tapping for yourself, which is what I have told you about in the past that you can do, but actually tapping for someone else. Tapping for someone else because they're sick, tapping for someone else because they're dealing with an issue that you would like to help them with. I just want to take a moment out to talk about people feeling that you have to get permission. Shouldn't you have to get permission to tap for somebody else's issue? And I wonder if anybody ever asked permission to think negatively about somebody or judge them or put them down in their mind, because you're still manipulating energy, right? Karma actually means action. That's what it really means. And the most karma that people do is from their mind. Thought, when it's emotionalized, has a charge, and that charge creates a reverberation into the field. So when you're thinking negatively about somebody, or hating, or feeling anger or judgment or superiority or resentment or all those things, you're also creating karma, right? You're creating action. That's mind action. And so that's creating a vibration that is moving in the field, almost like waves in water, right? So when you think about surrogate EFT and you think that you need permission for that, I'm going to invite you to think about all the times that you think negatively and angrily about somebody and you don't ask for permission, right? So you don't need to ask for permission to do a kindness for someone. But I would invite people who are tapping for somebody in order to change them for their own manipulative reasons, or for a desire to control a situation or a relationship, to think more deeply about that, because actually what's going to be coming up is your feelings about that person. And so you're not in a pure place about that. And I always tell parents who want to tap for their kids because they feel like their kids are behaving in ways that are uncomfortable for the parent, don't tap for your children until you clear your own stuff about that. Your anger at them, your sadness, your grief, whatever it is, your feelings of loss, whatever, lack of control, whatever it is. And I'm more than happy to help you with any of these things that I talk about in any of my videos, because my expertise is about those things. Otherwise, I wouldn't make videos about them. So, but in any event, so important for you to clear your own stuff before you're tapping for your children and trying to help them with what you think they should be moving. So that's surrogate. That whole thing is about asking for permission to surrogate tap. Any of you who pray, you don't ask for permission to pray. And what you're doing, again, is creating a reverberation into the field. And so consciousness is not local. Consciousness is non-local, which means that you can connect to someone else's field through your thought. Emotionalized thought is a very powerful way of connecting to people. When people have an urgent thing that's going on, a crisis, and all of a sudden, oh my God, what's going on? It's not unusual for somebody that they love that feels that, right? So there's so much proof that consciousness can connect like that from person to person. So when you pray, you're actually creating a reverberation that you're wanting to change for the other person, right? You're wanting their circumstance to change. So when we do surrogate EFT, we're doing the same thing, but there's a formula to it, as opposed to praying, which can be in any ritual form that somebody feels comfortable with. There is a formula of doing EFT for somebody else. And there's a few ways to do that. One of the ways is to do it, feel like you are them, tapping as them. And the other way is that you're feeling it for them. Okay? So you can be, even though I am, and then you put the person's name in that you're tapping for. Even though I am, let's say the woman's name is Barbara, even though I am Barbara and I'm in a lot of pain around this situation, or I have head pain or whatever it is, the surrogate tapping around physical things can be much more simple than ones for emotional issues that are more nuanced and aspected, and probably not a good idea to be surrogate tapping that way. Okay, or for those things. But surrogate tapping for people that are dealing with physical issues typically is straight on, although I will say that every physical issue has an emotional component. Either it was created by an emotional issue, or it creates an emotional issue as the physical issues move into time. Then there's resentment and anger and sadness and loss and all these different things that can come up, right? And I've certainly worked with people who have had emotional issues that are stuck and expressing as a physical issue, or a scar that won't heal, an operation that won't heal, pain from car accident that doesn't seem to clear, knots in their system, in their muscles, because it was associated with some kind of emotional issues that were triggering something from way in the past of that person. So it can be nuanced, but there's certainly nothing that is a problem in terms of stopping you from tapping for somebody. So you can tap for Barbara's headache, right? Even though I am Barbara and I have this head pain, I deeply and completely accept myself. And then you can go through the points. And again, I invite all of you that don't know tapping or would like to get more information about the basic formula to go to the other videos I've done, because I did one very in depth about EFT tapping, basic tapping, or you can say, even though Barbara has, and you're seeing from a third person perspective, even though she has a headache, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though she has a headache, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though she has a headache, I deeply and completely accept myself. In case you have any feelings at all about what's coming up, I deeply and completely accept myself. We'll access the heart center, which governs the heart, and that opens up the energy field, the electromagnetic field that is very powerful, and then allows the connection between you and that person to be clearer. One of the things I notice as an intuitive, and I'm also clairsentient, which means I pick up frequencies of people's thoughts, and that's something I'll do and talk about what clairsentience is in another little video, is that I tap with my clients, whether it's on the phone, because I have a lot of phone sessions, especially now with Corona COVID, or in person. I tap with them. And the reason why I tap with them is to clear my own static, because we always have static, right? We have 60,000 plus thoughts a day, and 5% of that is conscious, and the rest is subconscious, unconscious thought. And that you're always bubbling. You have all of these experiences that you've had that you kept in storage, so to speak. I see that we are basically, although divinely made, certainly not looking at it from a mechanistic perspective, but that we are self-organizing, self-evolving, organic computers. And that we have experienced that actually are packets of data, and that we keep that in storage. Because we go into freeze about it as children, certainly we go into freeze, we don't know what to do with it, so we don't move in any way, or we go into fight or flight, whatever traumas, seeming humiliations, whatever it is that we've gone through, that have affected our self-esteem, that have affected our self-love, they get caught in storage. Or things that we can't handle, it's too much for us, we get caught in storage and have all this data just sitting in us, okay? And so what we want to do is clear that, and it just bubbles up all the time, right? So ideally you want to work on those issues. However, know that they're always bubbling up, and then you have the stuff that's going on in the environment today with Corona, COVID, and people in masks, and rights being taken away, and people starting to get angry, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that's going on, right? That is creating constant stress. So what you want to do is when you're tapping, I deeply and completely accept myself, that allows the static to be cleared as much as possible so that you are really in a good connection with that person's consciousness. And then you tap your points, She has a headache, she has head pain, whatever it is. Certainly if you're tapping for somebody who is there, or that you're on the phone with, you're telling you what's going on, you can add the other pieces, aching pain or whatever it is, right? But definitely just tapping for someone else has the ability to actually move their field and help them feel better. So that's surrogate tapping. You can tap for somebody else. There are other things that you can tap for. You can actually tap for houses and rooms and animals and so on, and we can talk about that, an experience that I had with tapping and clearing a house from tremendous emotional pain that was actually in the house that my client bought. So anyway, that's that. I'm going to leave it there just for you to think about the idea of that you can actually affect someone else's field by doing the tapping. I send you tremendous love and wishes for a phenomenal day. And I'm going to always say this, you are much more powerful than you think. You are a tremendous light, and you are unique, and there is no one like you. Your voice is really important. Please stand up. Please hold on to your freedom. Please do not allow anything to make you feel that you're not capable of magnificent things. I will speak to you again. Bye-bye.